from each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are, from memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried, and with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight, reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey, and we are back today with our 1 year anniversary episode. We have made it to 1 year of deep dives. Our first deep dive was released on Friday, June 21st, 2024. And this episode is coming out on Friday, June the 20th, 2025. We have made it to 1 year of deep dives. So thank you for hanging out with us, even if this is your first episode or your 104th episode with us. Now, before we dive into what our 104th episode is for our 1 year anniversary, for those that can't see looking over my shoulder here, I had a couple facts about our first year. Do you want to take a stab at some of these facts about the
Go ahead.
Deep Diving the Magic podcast 1 year?
All right, let's see.
All right. How many total films do you think made it onto our list upon a star?
Um,
And remember, the first 10 had to make it by default.
are you counting that for both of us?
Yeah, just like
Like would
total
101
films.
Dalmatians for
Just one.
okay, that's just one. Okay.
Just how many films?
76.
Out of 104,
Mhm.
36 films had made it
That's
onto
all?
our list upon a star.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like we put more on there.
Nope. 36 films had made it onto our list upon
Oh,
a
I was
star.
way off. Sorry.
All right, next question here.
You can tell I'm not a fan of this list upon a star.
Oh, you stop. It's the whole reason that we're doing this podcast.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. So also, which one of us, KJ or Jeffrey, has had the most films on their list upon a star?
Jeffrey.
It is even at 32 apiece.
Mm.
You snuck in there. What was the first film that didn't make it to either of our list upon a stars? What was the first one to get the
The
shunned?
axe.
And I will tell you that there was one that you had chosen that I didn't choose, but that kept the list moving. So there's one film that neither of us chose.
No idea.
Treasure Island, I'm sorry. Treasure Island was the first film to not make it on either of our lists.
Yeah, that was.
I
don't ever want to watch that one again.
And then another fun fact, and this one I talk about every single week, so you should know this, but what is the longest running film on our list upon a star?
The longest running?
Yeah, so like the one that's been on the longest.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Since the beginning, number one. What is the longest on yours?
Probably Dumbo.
Dumbo at number 5. So they've both been on it. Well, Dumbo's been on it for 99 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll get the boot. No, he's way up there on yours. But Snow White's hanging out at number 10 on mine. So will this one knock it off after 1 year? Okay, let's talk about your ratings. We'll leave our list upon a star off over here. 9 films. I'm sorry, 5 films. Ooh, edit myself there. 5 films have received a 9 rating.
Yeah.
What are those films that have received a 9 rating from you?
101 Dalmatians.
Our number 1.
The Parent Trap, the 1961, obviously. Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, and the Three Caballeros.
All right. And when reversely there, 2 movies have received a 2 rating from you. So our lowest ratings. Is one of them Treasure Island?
No, actually, I think I probably gave that one a 3. Let's see. No, I actually gave that one a 4. I gave Treasure Island and Rob Roy the Highland Rogue a 4.
So two of them have received a 2, though. He's the lowest.
Yeah, 2 of them received a 2, and they were kidnapped. I will never watch that one again. If you want to torture me, that's what you'll make me do. And 10 Who Dared. Those two made
Completely
it
different
2.
movies.
Yeah.
And then we had one episode that was on location at Walt Disney World, where we looked up references
hmm
up until the
A
1960s.
bonus. A bonus
A
episode.
bonus. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll see. But like we were saying earlier, for our 1 year anniversary, it is also our 104th deep
hmm
dive of a Disney feature length film. And the 104th film, we have made it to the year 1972. And the first film of the year 1972, released in March 22nd of that year,
hmm
is a film called The Biscuit Eater. Now, are we going to start off our 1 year with a bang? The Biscuit Eater was based on a short story by the same name by James Street. Um, and yeah, that's really all I got for opening facts. It talks about, how it's um, the the times were changing in the film industry and stuff. But we'd like to start us off with our 1 year anniversary synopsis of The Biscuit Eater.
In this touching adventure, a remake of the popular 1940 film, 2 young Georgia boys team up and befriend a feral bird dog, whom they train to participate in a field trial.
Yeah, that's long and short of it.
hmm
Any facts? Was there any jumping out facts on our 1 year anniversary film here?
There was not a lot of facts. The only one that I thought was interesting was the breed of the dog, that we come to find is going to be named Moreover, is a German wire hair pointer.
I mean, that's the whole point of the film, with him being a pointer for sure. So,
Well, other dogs point. Our dog's
yeah.
not a pointer, but she'll point.
But yeah, so that's what we got. Would you like to dive right in to The Biscuit Eater?
Sure.
Go for it.
So the movie opens up with a song about a boy and a dog, and it's talking about how the dog is his best friend, and you've got footage of this boy and his dog and their adventures. We find out that the dog is named Moreover, uh, and
Named from the
then
Bible.
okay, well we've not got there yet, Jeff.
Okay, sorry.
Mister, I didn't take any notes. Okay, there's a lot going on. Jeff's just jumping like midway through the movie. Anyway, so we have a boy sitting in a field with a dog trying to teach him how to point as he is going to be a bird dog. They then get interrupted by the neighbor's dog. Then Lonnie talks to his dad about wanting to train, moreover, how to point. And his dad calls him a biscuit eater, the dog, and basically tells his son Lonnie that he's a useless hunting dog. Like, he's not gonna point. You can't train him. It's either bred into him or it's not. Any thoughts?
No, they obviously use the word biscuit eater as like a derogatory thing. Like it's not like something that's
Yeah,
like
he's a
it's not a
lazy
term.
biscuit eater.
It's not a term of endearment or anything.
Yeah, the dog doesn't want to like work for anything. He's just gonna eat biscuits.
Our dog would love to be called a biscuit eater.
Yeah, she wouldn't care at all. She'd be like, yes. Anyway, and an egg sucker. That's another term that we will reference in this movie. Um, at this point, we find out that Lonnie's father, his name's Harvey, is an award-winning dog trainer. Um, Lonnie's dad is trying to give away Moreover to this guy named Willie, who runs a gas station. Willie tells Harvey that he can't take an egg sucker as he deals a lot of eggs for profit. But Willie finally offers to take Moreover off of Lonnie's dad for $3.
Can I talk about Willie for a second?
Go ahead.
So Willie is like a wheeler and a dealer. Like this dude likes to make deals, but he's always puffing on this giant cigar, like this giant. I don't even know like what kind of cigar it is. I don't smoke, but it's like this giant cigar. But the dude never opens his mouth, so like his teeth are like clenched up, but he has this giant cigar off of it, like it's got like a toothpick or something coming out the end because I don't know how he fits that giant thing in his mouth. But there you go. And he like talks without opening his mouth.
Yeah.
He just shows off his pearly whites. All right, back to you.
All right. So after they leave from giving away the dog, Lonnie asks his dad to drop him off so he can hang out with his friend Text. More of that to come later. um, Lonnie convinces Tex to go back to Willie's to get the dog back. So Tex lives on a farm and they'll have room to put the dog whenever they get the dog back. And Tex agrees to this plan. So the boys head back over to Willie's to get the dog back. They set the dog up with 2 eggs so that Willie thinks that the dog's been into his eggs. And they manage to get him back, but they end up owing Willie 2 eggs because he thinks that the dog ate 2 of his eggs. That was a very short synopsis of it. It was a very long scene. Anyway, so then we find out that there's this guy named Mr. Evan, who is the villain of the story. Do you have anything to say about Mr. Evan?
No, he's just your typical like when you think of like a dog movie villain, that's not Cruella de Vil. You would think of this dude right here.
That's not cruel.
Well, like I don't want don't get it twisted, but
Okay. So Mr. Evans gets mad at the dog for barking at and scaring his horse team. Willie steps in saying it's his dog and takes up for the boys. Then Mr. Evans shows up at Harvey's house, threatening Harvey and telling him what Lonnie's up to with the dog. So then Lonnie goes over to Tech's house and they talk to Tech's mom. They tell her about the dog and she tells them to bring him in the home. They tell her that the dog doesn't have a name and she says she will help them name the dog. So she grabs her Bible as she tells them that's how she's always picked out names. And she reads a passage about a dog that had a word, moreover, in the text. And the boys decide that they like the name moreover. And the dog answers to it, and so it sticks. And that's how Text got his name, because he had 2 other brothers, Jebediah and Obadiah, which she got from the Bible. And then she picked out Text's name because her sister said that everything good comes from God's text. So that's how Text got his name. Anyway. So then the boys start training, moreover, to be a prized winning bird dog. Lonnie tells him he can't train him to point, as dogs have it bred into him, and when he's ready to point, he'll point. And after training, and more training, moreover, finally points. Any thoughts? Okay. So the boys work to drive another bargain with Willie to get a gun to go hunting with, moreover. Willie agrees to the bargain with a payment of mustard greens, which Text mom, Charity, is going to cook for him. Lonnie's dad finds the boys in the field with the gun and the dog, moreover. He looks at the gun with them and then he reviews gun safety with them. Harvey then tries explaining to them that every dog is different and that the training of one isn't always the same for another, because they were asking if they could kind of come along with him and the dog he's training, Silverbill.
the award-winning dog.
Yeah, the champion. So the boys go off with Harvey, and moreover gets to watch Silverbill in action. And I guess Harvey didn't realize that when Silverbill found the birds and he scooted them up so that way they would fly off.
They just like kick them.
Yeah, he shot 2 of them. And Silverbill she went and fetched the first one, brought it to him, and then was trying to go back for the second one, but he called her off because he didn't realize that there was another one. So he was like, whatever. And then they were going to turn around and go off, and then Text was like, no, what about if there's another bird out there, because Silverbill was trying to go back for it. And then Lonnie tells him, "Oh, you could be right. Let's see." So they said, "Go fetch it, boy." And then he comes back with another bird. And then that's when Tex tells Lonnie, he's like, "Well, maybe your dad didn't know how to read his dog because the dog was trying to go back for the other bird." So then they'd find out that maybe Moreover's not that bad of a bird dog. Um, then we go to another scene, and Lonnie shows up to Tech's house to bring him scraps to eat. Tech's mom tells Lonnie that she saw Moreover heading off to his house. He doesn't see him, so he runs into the house, and they said no, that his parents were like, "No, we haven't seen him." And he said, "Oh, there's only one other place he could be." So he takes off running to go find him, but Lonnie's mom tells his dad, Harvey, Mr. Evans. So Lonnie runs out, finds Moreover outside of Mr. Evans' house, about to be shot. He hugs the dog and begs for Mr. Evans not to shoot him. And then Harvey shows up and stands up to Mr. Eben. Uh, and it ends up being like a nasty little word fight at that point. And then they go home. So the dog does not get shot. Um, but we find out that Mr. Eben is prejudiced against this dog because Moreover's dad killed one of his goats or sheep. I can't remember what it was. Might have been a sheep, actually. And he's just sworn up and down that Moreover's also going to do this. But turns out Moreover doesn't do that. He's just an egg sucker, which Mr. Eben later calls him, because he'll sneak into your chicken coop and eat eggs.
Eggs are expensive nowadays.
Yeah. They probably weren't that bad during this time, but anyway, so Lonnie and Tex are washing Moreover in the next scene to get him ready for this field trial. Tex's mom tries to give Harvey Tex half of the entry fee, and this is the first time that Harvey hears of this. So he's not happy about the boys trying to enter Moreover into these field trials without telling him about it. And they're just getting started with this dog, and he thinks it's going to be a waste of their money because this dog doesn't really know what he's doing, but whatever. In another scene later, after lots of talk about it, Lonnie's mom talks his dad into letting the boys enter. They end up entering into the state championship field trial. We go to the trials, and Moreover is doing well in the trial. Silver Bell's owner and the other guys are basically like in the restaurant wherever this trial is. And they're talking about how well the dog's doing, and the waiter overhears this and tells the cook in the kitchen that Moreover could cost Lonnie's dad his job. Well, Tex is helping in the kitchen and overhears this. So Tex tells Lonnie, and then they discuss this, and they realize that, well, Lonnie's dad's got to have a job. This is not good. Like, it looks like we're winning, and if we win, your dad's not going to win, and that's not going to be good. So it ends up being Moreover and Silverbill in the finals of this field trial. And then towards the end of it, because of how well Moreover is doing, the boys panic that they will win. So Tex tells Lonnie that he is in agreement to calling the dog off because Lonnie's dad needs a job. So they call him off by telling him he's a no good biscuit eater. He really upsets the dog. And the dog like turns around, looks at him, and just kind of sulks and like walks off. So he runs off, and the boys are upset. And Harvey is like, I don't know what just happened. Like, he just called his dog off. That doesn't make any sense. But doesn't, I don't know. They talk about it on the way home, and he's like, I don't know if you thought you were losing or whatever you were doing, but you don't just call your dog off. And that's basically all that's said about it on the way home. And then we go into another scene, and then we have Mr. Ames, which is the guy that employs Lonnie's dad, Harvey. who owns Silverbill, and he is at the gas station talking to Willie.
He's still
And
waiting for that gas to arrive. Will come.
yeah, and we find out that Willie has a gas station, but doesn't have any gas.
Yeah.
Like, he can't put anything in your gas tank. He asked Mr. Ames, how much gas do you think your car will hold? He said, I don't know, 25 to 30 gallons. And I thought, good God, could you imagine filling up your car if your car held 25 to 30 gallons?
Yeah, so that's like double mine.
That's probably double everybody's.
And what's mine, like $40 a fill up? So like there you go. Like, geez.
Anyway, well, at that time it probably was very cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Kind of like in
I was
sorry
just like, that's a huge gas tank.
to sidetrack, but in at Epcot when the American Adventure, which I love, and they sing that song about like the Depression, and the guy's like trying like at the gas station, and he's like couldn't even get a dime for this gas or whatever.
Mm,
Sorry, back to you.
okay. So Mr. Ames shows up at Harvey's, and Mr. Ames tells him how he found out what happened with them calling the dog off. He explains Harvey won't lose his job unless he loses his job. Um, and he also tells them that isn't the way that they wanted to win either. So basically, like, we want to win fair and square. We don't want to win because you basically just disqualify yourself. Um, then he asks them to bring out Moreover to run with Silverville again. The boys are still trying to bring up Moreover spirits again because even though like they called him off, since they called him off, this dog seems to be in a depression. It's not eating. It's just kind of moping around. Um, so um, they decide that night, because he's still staying over at Tech's house. Tex is like, well, I'll try to let him sleep in the bed with me. Maybe that'll make him happy. And they're like, okay. And of course, that night, Moreover sneaks out of the house to get eggs. He can't get into the coop at Tech's house, so he heads over to Mr. Evans, the worst house he could ever head over to, but that's where he goes. So Mr. Evans hears his dog barking, so he gets up to go figure this out. He finds Moreover in his chicken coop and he says, you want eggs? I'll give you poison eggs. And then locks him in the chicken coop. Text, luckily, was following Moreover and overhears Mr. Evans say this to the dog and lock him in. So he rushes over to Lonnie's house and tells Lonnie and his parents about this. And this has to be in the middle of the night. And Harvey goes to get him. So he breaks into the chicken coop, gets the dog. The dog has obviously been poisoned because it's just laying there, and puts the dog in his truck and looks at Mr. Evans, who's sitting on his front porch, knowing what he just did, and he drives off. He takes the dog back into the house, and we find out that he's given him some medicine. We don't know what he gave him. I don't know. And he wraps him up and puts him by the fireplace to stay warm because he said he was shaking. Um, the boys are crying. They're so worried that the dog's going to die, but they refuse to leave the dog's side. Um, Harvey goes to Tech's house to tell his mom so that way she doesn't panic that he's not at home because obviously this is the day before cell phones and Tex just snuck out in the middle of the night to go find the dog.
So you're saying it's the day before text. Sorry, back to you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. He's going to tell Tech's mom and he was also going to get him some clothes because Tex said that he can't leave Moreover now. So the next morning, Moreover wakes up the boys by licking their faces, and the entire family just rejoices about this. Uh, Willie shows up to Harvey's house to check on Moreover because he heard about what had happened. He brings over some sort of mighty fine stuff, powerful, to pour over Moreover's food.
Mhm.
Mr. Evans shows up and threatens Harvey again for tying up his dog because his dog just wanders over onto Harvey's house, and Harvey has a bunch of kennels because obviously he works as a dog trainer, and this dog is like barking outside the kennel, so he's like, no, buddy, like, and he like just ties the dog up. It's like a German Shepherd. He ties it up, and then Mr. Evans is threatening him and tells him to untie him. And then Harvey basically calls him out for poisoning Moreover and tells him that he doesn't deserve a dog for his actions. And Mr. Evans starts a fight, and needless to say, Harvey finishes it.
They got enough fist fight for sure.
Mr. Evans threatens to get the law on Harvey, and Harvey tells him, "You do, and I'll whip you again on the courthouse steps." Like, at this point, we find out that basically hardly anybody ever stands up to this guy, Mr. Evans, and Harvey's dad's just not having it anymore. And after it's all over, Lonnie tells his dad, like, thank you for doing that. And basically tells him how proud he is of him for standing up to Mr. Evans because nobody's ever stood up to him before. Then it goes to another scene where Charity helps the boys with finding out if Moreover is done being an egg sucker. And they find out that he is. He's done. He's over it.
Got poisoned, so.
And then I thought to myself, that makes sense because they sit there and tell you, biologically speaking, that's your way. It's your food deterrent. Like, you have something that makes you so sick, you will not eat it again.
Yeah.
Kind of like me and Bojangles. Like, if it's not breakfast food at Bojangles, I will not eat it.
Damn, there's not one around. Sorry, continue.
Bowberry biscuits, though, I am all game. Anyway, so Mr. Ames tells the boys that it would be harsh for them to enter Moreover into the Grand Nationals after everything he's just been through. So basically, the boys were on this high that Moreover is better, and he's back to his old self again, and he made it, and he's not dead, and this is going to be their chance to finally do something with him. And then they're like, no, you just need to stay home and let him rest.
Mm-hmm.
So then the boys just kind of start sulking about everything. The Grand Nationals come. Harvey and his wife head off with Mr. Ames and Silverbell. And then we go into a scene. We're in Charity's kitchen, where the boys are eating together. And Willie is there, and he tells the boys that he will give them $50 each to go out and train Moreover, as he has found a backer that they beat in the first round with Moreover in the field trial that they were in. And the boys tell Willie after they're holding this money and looking at it, so excited. But then they look at Willie and tell him it's not about the money, and they leave the money on the table, and then they head out to go start training Moreover again. And Willie and Charity start laughing and celebrate because they have fooled the boys. And then Charity says that she'll just go put the money back in the bank.
Because you know what she says? Did you write it down?
No.
So Willie's like, well, you can give me the money. And she's like, I'm going to put it back in the bank because banks don't go broke as often as you do. So.
Oh, yeah, she did say that. I just didn't write it down. But yes.
You know me.
So basically, it was Charity's own money.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to get the boys' spirits back up so they'd start working with the dog again. The dog's back to himself, and she wants the boys back to their self.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Ames and Lonnie's parents drive up after the championship, and the boys are outside training, Moreover. And Mr. Ames agrees with Harvey to retire Silverbell while she is the champion. He then tells the boys they will need a young and strong dog for next year. And everybody laughs, and the boys agree. So Moreover will be the dog next year. And then the boys obviously were in the middle of training Moreover, and then Harvey, Lonnie's dad, asks the boys if they're just going to leave Moreover to hold his point because Moreover had found something and was just waiting. And he's like, are you just going to make your dog hold his point? You might want to call him off. and then the end. So obviously, Moreover's going to be hopefully the next champion.
We'd have to see 1 year later. Kind of like us. We made it to 1 year.
Yeah.
So thoughts on
Is there a sequel to this?
doubt it. Wasn't this a remake originally?
I was hoping there was.
There was?
I said I was hoping there wasn't. No.
Oh. So thoughts on the Biscuit Eater?
I mean, given the title of it, I didn't think I was going to like it, and I actually ended up liking it more than I thought I was going to. Um, I thought it had a bunch of good defeats evil themes in it, and overcoming, basically rooting for the underdog. So, I mean, I kind of like films like that. So, IMDb gave it a 5.7 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Very good. It's closer to your 9 than it is your 2.
Yeah.
So does the Biscuit Eater on our 1 year anniversary film make it onto your list upon a star?
No.
All right. Well, then what is your 1 year anniversary list upon a star?
Unfortunately, Biscuit Eater, I'm sorry you did not make it on my list.
Then what is your list?
My list upon a star is 101 Dalmatians, The Parent Trap, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, The Jungle Book, The Aristocats, Lady and the Tramp, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, That Darn Cat, and The Three Caballeros.
There you go. So this film was okay. It was like I know it's 1972, but it was like a throwback to like older films that we watched. But it's not making my list either. But I'm happy we watched it.
Mhm.
It, you know, we all like you looked around and you're like, this is our 1 year anniversary film. It's not the Disney company knew that we were gonna watch 2 films a week or put out 2 episodes a week for a year.
Well, technically, the first
The first two,
few,
the first two we
yeah.
we did once a week, and then we dove into it heavy. But my list
Yeah.
upon a star is staying the same with 101 Dalmatians. Number one, Mary Poppins at number two, Peter Pan at number three, Alice in Wonderland at number four, our most recent good friends in Bedknobs and Broomsticks at number five, the scrappy upstart of Babes in Toyland at number six, the Aristocats at seven, um, from all the way of our second film, so almost a whole year ago, Pinocchio at number eight, The Adventures of Ichabod at and Mr. Toad hanging out at number nine, and then all the way officially 1 year later, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is staying on my list currently at number 10.
I can't believe I don't have a single Tommy Kirk movie on here.
Girl, we haven't even made it to the 90s yet. All this is all going to get
I
messed
know,
up,
but for like one whole year, and Tommy Kirk is not he's on your list.
he's on my list, Babes in Toyland.
And before our last film, he was still on mine, but he got knocked off because he was the brother in Moon Pilot.
Yeah, so things as we keep going, our list of Pawn Stars are going to get even harder because we got all these films that mean a whole lot. But um, speaking of our list upon a star, our next film is film number 105, Deep Dive 105. That rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
It is the second film in a trilogy. We did watch the first film in the trilogy. It was like the computer that wore tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
This film, which was released in July of 1972, is a film called Now You See Him, Now You Don't.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen or have you not? Like this, like the title is. But in all honesty, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the last year.
Yeah.
It's wild that it's been a year.
It's wild we've made it over 100 films.
Yeah,
we haven't killed each other yet.
We've had different lists upon stars. We've had different backgrounds. We've had different microphones. We've had different all this stuff. But we are in the swing of things, and like we told you in our first episode, we are learning as we're going, and we're having fun with it.
Yeah.
But we've made it for one whole year, and we can't say that we appreciate you all so much, and we can't do this without all of you. So thank you so much. We are on Instagram, we are on Spotify, we are on YouTube. Where we'd be happy to have you. Actually, if you look over our shoulder here for those that are watching, all right there is all of our handles. And of course, we are at deepdivingthemagicpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear your thoughts on the Biscuit Eater, what you thought the title Biscuit Eater actually meant, what your favorite film of the last year is, how far you think that we're going to get in the next year. But either way, we will be back next time for the beginning of the year number 2 with film number 105, which is Now You See Him, Now You Don't. So thank you again, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.